We are still feeling ripples from Dragon Ball Super Manga Chapter 84 and blowback from the shockwave that was Totally Not Mark's video on Bardock and the assassination of Goku's character in his eyes. And with waves of older Dragon Ball fans exiting the fandom altogether due to these changes, it's extremely important to dive into these and see exactly where the issues lie and which direction Dragon Ball is going to go in the future. That's why I reviewed Totally Not Mark's video in its entirety, which you can find in the link in the description below, but somebody else came out with a much more in-depth and to me far greater dissection of the issues that not only just Totally Not Mark has with this chapter, with Goku, with Minus, and with Bardock, but other YouTubers and people in the community also have these similar issues. But I do want to jumpstart this video with some positivity, so hit that like button if you're just a fan of Dragon Ball in its entirety. Let's get started. This article comes from Anime AIHOZ. Due to the Totally Not Mark video and its... You see this? This is probably the only part that I don't like in this thread, to name calling other people to try to get your point across. To me, that's when the conversation almost fully falls flat on one's ear, because you don't really need to name call and put people down so that way you can get your point made and get your point across. You don't need that. I intend to do a full thread explaining how DB Minus, DBS Broly, and the last arc of DBS don't change Goku's growth and themes in the slightest. First, we must start from the idea that Goku in this version is still seen as a low-class warrior who would sooner or later be sent to conquer a planet due to his weaknesses and inadequacy to Saiyan society. So the whole conflict with Vegeta being an elite is still there. Neither Gine nor Bardock expect great things from Goku. Bardock even says, "Someone deemed to be a lower class warrior, my son. The only thing they want for Goku is to survive, that's all. Not to be a good person or be someone strong. They just want him to survive." And I wholeheartedly agree. Bardock just wants to save his son, the last one that's left on the planet, because he knows Raditz is already off-world. And even Gine says, well, we can bring you back after this whole mess is cleared out. If nothing happens, nothing bad happens to the planet, then Goku can return to planet Vegeta and continue living life under Frieza's rule. Saving Goku literally is just a father trying to save his son, and for those of you guys who are fathers like myself, I wholeheartedly understand where Bardock is coming from, at least this version of Bardock after the events of the Granola arc. The whole reason why Goku manages to survive to the destruction of the planet Vegeta is because he is so weak that the scouters can't track him. This is actually really important in the movie DBS Broly, because Gine and Bardock could have ran away with Goku, but they are far too strong and they are far too noticeable. The scouters would have caught them. Goku is far more insignificant and bypasses the planetary defenses and scouters completely unnoticed when he goes to Earth, showing that he's still kind of weak in this stage. And this isn't baby infant Goku in a test tube. This is like almost toddler Goku in Saiyan armor. This is a bigger Goku and he's still pretty weak. And Goku isn't a good person because Bardock was good as well, because it's not true. First, Bardock spares Granola and his mother specifically because Goku was born. To be a genetic thing, he should have been a good person first, and then Goku should have been born. This is something else that's being argued by a lot of people, that Bardock is actually a really good guy, a really good Saiyan, and just an overall like amazing person. Bardock is more similar to Raditz than Bardock is similar to Goku. Bardock has gone his whole adult life extinguishing races, destroying people cruelly, and basically causing as much damage and destruction as any other Saiyan in his race. But because they have the backdrop of being a Saiyan warrior race, that doesn't exclude them from all the horror and carnage that they cause throughout the galaxy. Bardock to me is still a pretty bad guy. Granola's mom and Granola himself are what change him to be like, you know what, maybe we shouldn't be killing every single person that is weaker than us, or every single person on the planet. Maybe we shouldn't be killing women and children because I have a woman and child at home. That's literally it. That was the change, and I liked that aspect of the story up until that point. And Bardock continues his race genocide even after that. Saving some people on a personal whim doesn't automatically make him a good person. Yeah, so the Granola arc doesn't actually just go straight into Minus. In the beginning of Minus, Bardock's actually on a completely different planet, destroying becoming a completely different race. So even after this, he still follows Frieza's orders and continues the genocide of other species to sell their worlds on the market. So yeah, he's not a good guy, dude. This guy is a bloodthirsty monster who just cares about his own son and his own wife, and probably has gotten a soft spot for women and children. Regarding Gine's character, she's just a caring mother, that's all. She isn't some kind of pacifist who is against Saiyan operation. According to Toriyama's interview, she herself participated in those in the past and only stopped because she wasn't a good fighter. So Gine was thrusted into, probably as well as some of the other women that can fight, into the conquering of worlds and being a Saiyan warrior race. But because she's not a good fighter, she's kind of weak, she decided to be a stay-at-home mom, or at least society decided for her to be a stay-at-home mom and breed the next generation of Saiyans, which she basically started doing with Raditz and Goku. Raditz is an evil asshole despite being raised by both and having concrete interactions with his parents, unlike Goku, who has just vague memories. Now Raditz, granted, didn't have any contact with Gine and Bardock from the moment he was, what, like 5 to 7 or something, when he and Vegeta were on that mission. But it's safe to say he probably would have grown up the exact same way as Bardock, maybe with more of his influence, maybe with him not wanting to kill women and children, being as ruthless as he is. I guarantee you the reason that he is as ruthless as he is because he's only one of 3 Saiyans, and the other 2 are complete bloodthirsty monsters, including Vegeta. So he has to be that way to be fitting in essentially with the rest of the Saiyans. And finally, Goku would have exterminated the human race had it not been for the blow to his head. Not only is it addressed directly in the series that Goku has changed due to his brain damage, but when he meets Grandpa Gohan, he attacks him, and according to Gohan, if he had not been a strong martial artist, he would have suffered serious consequences. Goku's nature as a Saiyan is still of an evil and violent one, which means that that inherent Saiyan trait of being unruly, violent, aggressive, that's in all Saiyans, in birth, in their very genes. As they're born, that's how the purebloods are. At least in Universe 7. They just have that trait inside of them, and it can be weeded out, you know, through nurturing and their life experiences, but apparently it could also be erased entirely by a blow to the head. For some reason, Mark is convinced that Goku's parents are now special in some way, despite being clearly stated that Bardock is a low-class warrior and Gine is simply a food dispenser. They are basically just random guys in the grand scheme of things, which is true. They are basically nobodies, essentially. Gine is specifically a nobody. She works at a meat shop. Bardock may be a commander to low-class Saiyans, at least to a certain extent, but he's still pretty much an unknown. So in summary, Goku is still a low-level class warrior. Nobody, not even his parents, expect him to become a strong person. His parents were not good people, and they were not special at all. They had no effect on Goku's nature, which despite all was still that of a normal Saiyan. So all the journey he made to become a good person and one of the strongest fighters in the multiverse, despite coming from an evil race and being one of the beings considered destined to be among the weakest, it's not nullified at all. It's all still there. Now hear me out. If, say, Bardock and Gine were like the only good Saiyans ever, right? Like they were like the most extreme, pacifist, amazing, great Saiyans, right? And they had like high status society, right? They were just super well off and just in that level echelon of elite Saiyan warriors, and Bardock was one of the strongest members on that planet, only rival, only second to King Vegeta. And right before they sent Goku off, they sent him to planet Earth and they were telling him his destiny, like, you are meant to guide them, Goku. You are meant to push them forward and show them the best versions of themselves and be amazing. Yeah, I can see at that point, then yeah, that's 100% like, okay, Goku's, I guess, special from the very beginning because his parents were super special and super awesome and they had this mission for him. But that's not the case at all. They were dirt poor, nobody cared about them, they were forgettable, and they were basically pretty weak. And they immediately wanted to send Goku away just in case, and then bring him back in case that just in case was nothing at all. To me, that's just normal behavior. That's not anything special, really.
Subscribe for more content.